the yellow metal that is gold bullion. I think it's fair to say that most of us investors will probably already hold some gold bullion in our investment portfolio. However, there is a question I often find myself wondering, and that question is, should I really be buying gold bullion in assay cards, or should I just stick to buying gold capsules on their own? Okay, so let's get straight to the point. Gold bullion in assay cards or capsules. Is it worth buying them in assay cards, or is it a bit pointless? Well, I think let's get straight to some of the topics that I'm going to be covering in this episode. First of all, we're going to be covering the price comparison, ease of sale, size and storage, and the authentication battle between the quality and the legitimacy between the two, popularity, and a final conclusion. So let's start off with the most important topic that comes with investing. Price comparison. What is the price point between buying a 1 ounce 2023 Gold Britannia in a blister card, or also known as an assay card, versus buying one in a single capsule? Well, I must admit, I went into this doing the research for this episode with the mindset of, I'm sure that there's going to be more premiums buying them in an assay card and a blister card. I mean, why wouldn't there be? After all, the Royal Mint have to put more time, more product into creating them in assay cards. So I was very surprised to see that when I looked at the price point between a 1 ounce Gold Britannia in an assay card and a capsule on its own, they were both selling for £1,685. I thought that was very pleasing, because I must admit I really did think that having them in assay cards and blister cards, there would be some higher premiums for the product that you're paying for. So when it comes to price comparison, there is a win-win for both. Whether you like them in assay cards or capsules, the good news is you're not going to be paying much more in premiums for either or. So let's move on to the next category, ease of sale. How easy is it to sell them in assay cards compared to capsules? Well, I think it's a good question, because at the end of the day, all of us at some point are probably going to at least liquidate some of, if not all of our precious metals. And of course, we want to know how easy that's going to be. Now, some people do believe, and I think there is a little bit of a misconception out there, that when it comes to bullion in assay cards, normally to check them, they cut them open and pull the precious metal out. But 9 times out of 10, that's not actually the case. When you take your bullion to a reputable dealer, be it a jewellery shop, a coin shop, or even a bullion dealer to sell your precious metals, 9 times out of 10, they're going to have what they call a Sigma machine. Now, a Sigma machine can check the quality and the purity of that precious metal without taking it out of the blister card or the capsule. So you don't have to worry when purchasing them in assay cards that they may get cut out later on down the line, because at the end of the day, if you're taking it to a reputable place, it's not going to hurt the resellability, because they're going to be able to check that purity and quality with their equipment they have in store. So now let's move on to size and storage. Already you can see a pretty big difference between the two. Now, some of you more experienced investors will have noticed that I'm not holding a 1 ounce Gold Britannia right now. I'm holding a 1/4 ounce Britannia. Now, for this particular video and the current time, I don't have a 1 ounce Gold Britannia to hand, so I'm going to be using this as a reference. Now, clearly you can see there is a size difference. It doesn't take a genius to work out that this is a 1 ounce gold coin, and if you had a 1 ounce gold coin in a capsule, it would really encapsulate the size of this Britannia that we've got here. The only difference is this is carrying the card with it. So yes, it does take up slightly more room, but at the end of the day, it's not exactly much wider. It's simply just got a larger surface area. Now, does it also protect it more in terms of protection? It's a good question. I think when you have them in capsules like this, they're very well protected. They're super solid, and you're going to have a good job damaging your precious metal. The only thing I would say is certain capsules, slightly cheaper ones I would say, have had a reputation of opening up on me where my precious metals have fallen out. So when you've got them in blister cards or assay cards, That's not really going to happen because they're completely sealed. There's no way of getting that precious metal out without cutting it out of the assay card, and normally that's never going to be the case. No one's ever going to cut these out usually. Overall, when we talk about size and storage, yes, the ones in the assay cards do take up more storage, but really, I don't think it's a big deal. You're not going to be walking around with 1 ounce gold coins in your pockets, are you? Really, let's be honest. Whether it's in a capsule or an assay card, normally they're going to be in a security deposit box, a safe location, a safe or some form of safe storage area, and they're going to just be sitting there. So either way, I don't think there's really any fors or against when it comes to size comparison. I think it's just a case of personal preference. Now, authentication. What's the battle between the two when we look at quality and the legitimacy between coins and capsules and assay cards? But it's a difficult one. I mean, you could argue that it doesn't really matter what the card or the capsule has on it, because in this case, all of the Britannias have security measures embedded in the design of the coin itself. You can see that they've got the trident here, which flips to a padlock, and even the waves in the background of the design is a security feature. Having said that, there is no form of information on the coin capsule itself. It's a clear, transparent package, which is great for storage and appearance, but there isn't any information on there. So I've got to say, one benefit to the assay cards is that they do carry slightly more information, and on first glance I would say they appear easier to authenticate. Straight away you can see the Royal Mint's logo and the statement Britannia at the bottom with the United Kingdom flag there, the Union Jack. When we flip it over on the reverse, it's got a lot more information. It's got its weight, 1 troy ounce, 31.1035 grams. Its alloy, which is its purity, 4/9 fine. Its quality, bullion, the diameter, and signatures of the designers and master chief executives, with a little bit of information on the bottom. So I think when we look at it from a point of authentication, it doesn't really matter. Britannias hold so much security features that they hold their own in that aspect. But in terms of information, the assay cards, blister cards definitely win that one for me, because they hold a lot more information. Now, if you're already the stacker and holder of it, okay, you don't need that information, you already know it. But if you were to pass these down or something was to happen to you, it's fair to say that having them in assay cards is going to be a lot easier for your family members or friends, whoever inherits them, to be able to authenticate and understand what the particular precious metal that they've got in their hand is. And moving on to our next category, popularity. Which ones are more popular? Which ones are more desirable? Does that affect what you should buy? I've got to say, I think coins and capsules tend to be more popular. Out of all of the investors I talk to and the videos I see from other content creators, it appears that more regularly than not, people tend to purchase gold bullion, whether it's a 1/10 ounce, quarter ounce, half ounce, or even 1 ounce in capsules. I think it's probably because it's easier to store, you can take them out, and that's a big factor for people. So overall, I could be wrong, but I honestly think that capsules are a little bit more desirable, a little bit more popular. However, I don't think anyone is particularly against assay cards because they're stunning. Again, they protect the coin, they authenticate it very, very well, and they have lots of information on there. So yes, coins are maybe slightly more popular. However, I think assay cards are still very, very in demand. So in final conclusion, what do I prefer? Well, clearly you can see I've got a mixture of both. It's difficult. I really do love them in assay cards. I love how substantial they feel. It makes it feel very, very nice in your hand. It gives it a great way to authenticate that particular precious metal. I love the fact that it's got information on the back. And I love how it just seems to feel in your hand. For me, I honestly do prefer my bullion in assay cards and blister cards for those reasons. Not to say though that I don't dislike coins or bars in singular capsules. I think it's very practical, and I can understand why people would prefer to have them in just capsules. So overall, should you buy gold bars in assay cards? Is it worth it or is it pointless? I think absolutely it's worth it. First of all, we know the price point is the same when buying Assay Cards or Capsules, at least on the Royal Mint's website. I think ease of sale isn't affected. I think size and storage does come into play a little bit, but really it doesn't have major issues there. And I think going on to the authentication battle between quality and legitimacy, again, Britannia's and popular bullion coins have so many security features these days that you don't really even need to worry about that. And again, popularity is down to personal preference. So on final conclusion, for me, I prefer items in Assay Cards. I think they look great, but I can understand why Capsules are also popular as well, hence why I do own both. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you prefer in the comment section below. I'd be very interested to know whether you prefer them in Assay Cards or Capsules. And until next time, I'll see you all in the very next episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.